Well, our moms think we're funny.
All right.
I'm sorry. Okay, yeah.
Nick Cage didn't even get top billing for this.
Like Team Blaze, guy's name is Tony Ghost Hawk. Really? Tony Ghost Hawk? Is that? I'm just believe that's a real name, Tony Ghost Hawk. He's like, what's your name? What's your name? Tony Hawk? No, there's already a guy named Tony Hawk. What's your name? Tony Ghost Hawk?
That's such a stepbrother's name. They call me Ghost Hawk.
Call me Dragon.
Yeah, so we watched Ghost Rider. Hey everyone, I'm Acomi.
Hey everybody, this is Turk 182. I mean, this is Turk Ghost 182.
I'm Ghost Comey. We watched Ghost Rider, starring Nicolas Cage.
They should have put Ghost after everyone's name. Nicolas Ghost Cage. Ava Ghost Mendez. Tony Ghost Hawk.
So, everyone knows I love Nicolas Cage, and so Turk decided to show me Ghost Rider, starring Nicolas Cage, because I hadn't seen it yet. You know, like, this movie should have just been everything we ever dreamed of, because it's like, oh, hey, friends, do you like Nicolas Cage? Why, yes. Do you like Marvel movies? Oh, yes. Do you like movies about the supernatural and demonic interference? Okay. Yes! Well, do we have a movie for you?
Do you like Ghost Rider? Yes.
Yeah. Well, here, let me just put this pillowcase over your head. I'm just going to punch you straight in the face because this movie's going to suck.
I halfway through the movie, you're like, you grab the pillowcase, like, hey, can you punch me in the face again?
This was a bad movie. This was not a good movie.
It is not a good movie. And I am surprised that it got, what they give it, like a 26%?
26%, yeah.
I can't even find that much to, I will say this, if they had polled me when I first saw the movie, and I was really kind of hyped going up for this movie, and I'll tell you the thing that really hyped me up when the movie first came out was the fire effects.
Yeah, the fire effects were great.
Yeah, I was like, oh man, is this going to be great? And you know, Nicolas Cage being a fan of Ghost Rider and all that kind of stuff, I was like, okay, great, you know, this is outstanding. I think Mark Steven Johnson, the guy that wrote and directed this, I believe he's also the same guy that wrote and directed Daredevil, the Ben Affleck Daredevil. Hey, shit, wait, watch your mouth. Watch your mouth. All right, just watch your mouth. Not you.
Totally, yeah.
I'm talking to the people listening. I know they were like, no, just watch your mouth. And I like the Ben Affleck Daredevil quite a bit. You know, there's the two versions. There's the theatrical version, and there's the director's cut, which had more scenes in it, things added in.
That's what they needed.
Coolio was in there, and there's a whole bit with him, like Matt Murdock actually like defending him. You see Matt doing some trial stuff or whatever. I like that one. It's not great. I am not going to tell you that it's great at all, but I like it. This, I will tell you, is no Daredevil. Yep, there we go.
Yep.
Yeah, it is no Daredevil at all. It's so going into it, I was like, yeah, I like Daredevil, and this guy's doing a Ghost Rider ship. Yeah, okay, yeah, I'm down.
I like Ghost Rider. Wait, is that? Yeah. Oh no, it's Stephen Paul. He looks like Tom Hanks.
Yeah, I was thinking that he looked like crap.
He looks like crap.
That's mean. Yeah, he looks like crap. Yeah, he does. No, I was thinking he looked like Doogie Howser.
Oh,
just hold like maybe like Doogie Howser and Tom Hanks if they merge them together, but like
yeah.
Who's this? Who's that Pokemon?
So, I mean, here's what I can say I liked about it. Good cast. Some great people involved with it. And I do think that Nicolas Cage brought a lot of passion to it. You can tell that he's enthusiastic about the character and that he does care. That's it!
and the flame effects.
The flame effects did look good, yeah.
Yeah, the flame effects, yeah. So...
And I will say, and we were talking about this off mic, Rebel Wilson has a scene in this, and I was surprised that I found her scene funny.
Her scene is funny. It's, you know, it's like, oh, Rebel Wilson's okay, yeah, and her scene is funny.
Yeah, I mean, and she doesn't, like, she still has a lot of the same demeanors that she has in other things I've seen her in. It's, like, kind of that awkward humor, but it's not just jokes about her weight, and even though it's a very brief thing, you know, she's got herself done up like this, like, Hot Topic goth punk, and and like the awkwardness kind of carries over in a much better way.
Very much so.
And so then like the last thing is that she like kind of tries to flash a gang sign at the news camera, and she does a really bad job. It was actually really funny. So like I'll give it that, but yeah, I mean, it's like it feels like a lot of wasted talent.
Okay, so can we start from the beginning?
I think we can, yeah.
All right, so let's. I'm going to break it down. Well, then let it be broke. So starting off, you've got the whole Nicholas. No, sorry, Nicholas. You've got Johnny Blaze. And I'm just going to say that for those of you who know Ghost Rider, I mean, if you know Ghost Rider, then you probably have seen this movie. You probably didn't like it at all. If you don't know Ghost Rider that well or just didn't watch the movie, they actually combine the Johnny Blaze Ghost Rider and the Dan Ketch Ghost Rider in this movie. So you start off and you've got Johnny Blaze, his dad's a stuntman, and they work at some kind of like carnival circus kind of thing, but it's a stationary one. Because they live nearby, and his girlfriend, who later is played by Ava Mendez, she's like, yeah, my dad, he thinks that, he doesn't think that you're good enough for me, and he doesn't want us to be together. They're going to ride off somewhere. He's like 17, she's like 17 or whatever, and they're going to ride off somewhere. You know, which, okay, young love, I completely understand that is a possibility.
Yeah.
But also, like, you don't have you work at a shitty circus carnival thing. You live in, and I'm not putting anybody down, but you live in a trailer, but you're like the main attraction of the circus carnival thing. So if that's all you can afford because of how much money you make there, you don't have enough money to ride away with your girlfriend. And what are you going to do?
Yeah, it's not like Baby Driver where it's like, well, yeah, I have a few hundred thou.
Right.
So, yeah, let's jump in my nice ass car and let's get out of here.
And like they show us his house is nothing special about it. And when I say nothing special, like they don't have it. There's nothing about it where it looks like they're like he's like they've like. Okay, if I had a house that I've got a nice house I can afford, I don't go outside my means. I don't need anything more than just this. Right. But I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna have like really nice things in it. They have like an old busted like UHF VHF like TV, and it's I'm like you don't have anything special in it, so you're just living for whatever. And I'm assuming he has insurance in somehow because his dad's got cancer. And
I don't think he's got insurance through the circus. So.
Right, so that's what I'm like, okay, so like what are you getting from the circus that makes you stay there doing his little ring of fire jumps in a tent, in a stationary circus that apparently people can't be coming to that often? It's a stationary circus, right? I mean, like
I don't know. It's bizarre, man.
I mean, so just look at it this way. You have a putt-putt. And, your putt-putt... I
would love to run a putt-putt.
Putt-putt is a place you go for amusement, right?
Yeah.
Do you go to the putt-putt every day?
I mean, there's probably some people who do.
Do you go to it every weekend?
I mean, I personally don't, but...
Would you imagine somebody going to this crappy circus, winning their shitty carnival prizes, watching this guy jump through the same ring of fire all the time, and then getting on their like shitty little tetanus rides, right? Every weekend?
Rides.
I can't imagine anybody doing that. Like
maybe it's a small town and there's like nothing else to do.
That doesn't make any sense at all. His dad's dying of cancer. He makes a deal with the devil, which is one of the stupidest scenes in the movie.
See, yeah, counterpoint. He doesn't make a deal with the devil.
Oh, that's true. He does not make a deal with the devil.
Fucks up and the devil's like, oh, you made a deal.
Okay, well, he doesn't really even fuck up. The devil hands him the scroll with the contract on it that apparently, like, has not been smoothed down, so it's got some rough metal edges, and he ends up pricking his finger when he's, like, reading, and he's like, oh, no, that's fine. We're good here. Like, what? No. I never agreed to this.
Yeah.
So imagine if you're in a restaurant and you're looking over the menu and you're like running your hand down or you're looking at all this stuff and you just kind of stop at one thing and you're like, okay, so that's what you're going to get? Great. Like, what? No, I never said that's what I want. I'm like...
And that's the thing, and like, at no point in the movie does he argue this case and say, I didn't sign that, I didn't agree to anything, you injured me and used my blood on the contract. At which point it's like, okay, well, what's to stop me from just like scrawling on a piece of paper, contract neutralized, and then punching you in the fucking face,
right,
and smearing it on your broken lip? Because, I mean, like, that's pretty much the same concept.
It really is. And why did he need Johnny? You don't see anything in the beginning to explain or show that that Johnny is a great...
And
Hold on.
He jumps through the ring of fire.
So did his dad.
Yeah. Yeah, but his dad's dying of cancer.
He almost fucks up on when he's like riding the wheelie because he hits the rock. Which if you are,
that's what did it. The devil knew when he hit the rock. He was like, "This is a clumsy dumbass."
If this is a stationary circus and you're doing this thing every day, there should not be a random rock just there. Okay, whatever.
Right, because the person who cleans the carny grounds totally cares about that rock.
But it shouldn't be there. How would it just randomly get there when you guys do this all the time?
I think it's been there for a while, and the cleaner's just like, they don't give me enough to pick up rocks.
What's the clean? It's just a dirt floor. He might walk through there with like a rake and even it out. I don't even know if he does that. Like
he probably doesn't. They probably pay him to do that.
Okay, so the devil goes to him and is like, yes, it's you. It's always been you. You're the one I want, and I'm going to. Your dad's dying of cancer. So this is what really kills me. Your dad's dying of cancer, and I show up at your city circus. I just walk in, and you don't even question like, hey, circus is closed. What are you doing here? Nobody lives there at the circus.
Mm-hmm.
So, and apparently they don't lock up either because it has a low fence, no security guard. So you can just come in here anytime you want to and take as many pink elephants as you wanted. You know, you didn't have to break my fingers. You just come here later on, just steal them all. So like none of that made any sense. So this guy just shows up and just talking to him. He's like, yeah, I can, your dad's sick, huh? I'm like, yes, mister, maybe that's really sick. Like, okay, whatever. And then,
rats, can you help him, mister? Please, please, please.
Sorry.
That's all right.
So we get to, he's like, yeah, so I can cure your dad if you want to make a deal with me. Okay. He's like, what kind of a deal? But first off, this random ass guy just shows up and says, I can cure your dad. And he's like, okay, what's it going to cost? And he's like, your soul. Oh, okay, never mind. I thought we were being serious here. Random guy who says you can cure my dad of cancer.
Right.
Why you get that fucking stupid?
Friend, can I introduce you to Dr. Johnson's miracle potion? One drop of this will eradicate all cancer from your body.
Oh.
I don't know why my hucksters always just sound like Joe Exotic, but... That bitch Carol Baskins tried to outlaw this here potion.
Let me tell you about Sent to the Sun's tonic. Put some garter in your larder, but like, so so again, that's what he's like, I can save it. All you gotta do is give me your soul. Gives him the contract, and he accidentally pricks his finger and drops some blood. And he's like, no, that's fine, that's fine. We're all good here.
That'll do, donkey. That'll do.
So then next thing you know, his dad's cured the cancer, and then like he kills him. He just has some random stunt that like blows his bike up when the ring of fire is so small, and he just like, oh, I lost control of the bike and then fell and hit the ring of fire. Okay, and like that.
Yeah, that never should have killed him.
Yeah, but why didn't he go to the dad and be like, hey, you're dying of cancer, there's nothing you can do. Your son's not man enough yet to really take care of himself. He's too reckless. Do you really want him trying to do all these stunts on his own without you around? He's probably going to kill himself. Mm-hmm. But why don't you sign a deal with me? Yep. Because we find out later that Johnny's been really reckless in all of his jumps.
Yeah. And is really bad at it.
Right.
He only succeeds in like one fucking jump. But like let's pause here because I'm confused by the timeline of the dad getting cured of cancer because Johnny signs the contract.
Right.
And when he wakes up the next morning, the dad like struts in, he's like, hey there, son, I'm healthy as a horse. That's what my doctor said when he looked at my x-rays this morning. It's like, so, what, you got up at like 4 o'clock in the morning, drove all the way out of Bumblefoot, Missouri, or wherever the hell you are, to the doctor's?
Oh, I just got stuff right there. You were able to get a doctor's appointment that fast?
Yeah!
Really?
Like, so you must have like gotten to the doctor's office by 7 because you get home at 9, you're like fully dressed, at which point Nicolas Cage wakes up and is like... I know it's not Nicolas Cage at that point, but it's like... So, I mean, what's the timeline here? Because he just wakes up first thing in the morning and you're like, oh, hey, I got my x-rays, got the results from my x-rays, and they determine it's all clear.
It has to be the same day because then it starts storming after his dad dies, and he rides out, and there's Roxanne waiting for him under the tree, and he's like, no, not going to pick you up today. And then he drives. So it has to be the same day, which is even shittier because they're like, So what are we gonna do with this body? Let's go ask Johnny. Oh, hey, he's gone. He just
Johnny?
like, I'm not paying for his funeral. Not to mention, Johnny just left and drove off. His dad had a mysterious accident right after I overheard him arguing with him and saying, that girl doesn't love you. Maybe Johnny sabotaged a bike and killed his dad.
Yeah. Well, we'll just toss his body here in the trash compactor with the rest of them.
And why were they doing a stunt together? In the beginning, they're doing a stunt together, right? So, okay.
I was confused about that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Fast forward, 20 years later.
15
or whatever.
years
15 years later. Yeah.
Johnny's doing a stunt, which goes horribly wrong because for some fucking reason, in the middle of the jump, he likes to close his eyes. And then open them time. Right before he hits the ramp. Be like, oh shit, missed the mark.
And he never catches on to that being the reason.
And if it comes to find out that he's been doing these reckless jumps on purpose, trying to kill himself to see if he can die or what's going on, and find out that the devil's been keeping him alive this whole time.
Which is literally the plot to Escape Clause, that Twilight Zone episode, where the guy signs the deal with the devil.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
a great episode. I love it.
Yeah, I watched it right after you told me about it.
Yeah, it's a fantastic episode. It's got that guy who... the guy who played Mr. French in that dumb sitcom.
Yeah.
Yeah, he plays the devil, Mr. Cadwallader. And, yeah, it's a really badass episode. Yeah, it's the same thing of oh, well, I've signed this contract, I'm bored with life, I'm just gonna see if I can die.
So, here's my thing though, why didn't he offer the deal to the father? That would have made much more sense, because when you find out that he's keeping Johnny Blaze alive throughout this whole thing anyway, why just make that, and Johnny is obviously a shitty writer. You could have kept the dad alive all this time, and then you could have probably later on passed the contract from father to son, and you wouldn't have had to do the whole, now I'm going to kill the father to make you come work for me by severing all the ties. That was completely necessary. I already work for you. If you need me that bad, why are you going to fuck me over after I've already signed the deal?
Yeah, you're not exactly inspiring a lot of loyalty here.
Right, and I'm already contractually bound. There's no reason to do any of that stuff just because you want to be a dick.
Yeah, I guess that's about the size of it. It's kind of a dick.
Okay, whatever, yo.
But yeah, then we learn shortly thereafter that Johnny really has a thing for jelly beans and is always drinking tropical fruit jelly beans
and monkey shows.
And he's got an obsession with monkeys. So his friends are flipping through channels looking for the news about him fucking up his jump, and he's like, oh my god, go back to the monkey, there's a howler monkey show on Discovery Channel! And then his friends don't, and they just watch the news about him fucking up the jump, and they turn the TV off, and he just glares at the blank TV because he wanted to see the monkey show.
Yeah.
Then he goes home and is pushes aside his big stack of occult books about deals with the devil and turns on a monkey show where a monkey's practicing karate beating up a guy, and he's belly laughing like a maniac. And I contend that this was not scripted. I think Nicolas Cage was just literally watching monkeys on TV, and they couldn't get him to stop, so they put it in the script.
I can agree with that. Just sometimes he acts like Elvis.
Yeah.
And then other times he doesn't. Sometimes he puts in his whole Elvis vibe thing, and then other times he doesn't. It's when it suits him or when he remembered to do it.
And it just depends on the day of the shooting, really.
Right. I think sometimes they're talking to the director he's not talking shut. We don't want him to talk like Elvis.
Oh yeah, you guys reminded me of the Elvis thing. That's right. Start the cameras over. God damn it, you reminded him.
And then there's a scene when he's going to do the jump that brings Roxanne back to his attention, which that makes no sense at all either. That he puts on Elvis glasses, a cowboy-like hat, and then he has a cane.
Yep.
Which we have no idea why that's whatever. Then Roxanne, the girl that he left behind from the circus years ago, shows me she's a reporter, and he's talking to her this really awkward interview, and he's talking to her, he's I watch you on TV a lot, and he's like, yeah, you're really good, and she's like, oh, okay, thanks, and we're live here trying to do this interview, but okay, whatever. So then later on, she's like, yeah, there's a restaurant in my hotel. Wait, there's a restaurant in your hotel, so you don't live in the Houston or wherever you are in Texas. You don't live here.
Yeah.
So where am I watching you on TV if you don't live here? And I live here. And
Does
you're not,
he live in Houston? Because, like, the devil talks about all the different places, and he was like, yeah, I
All
was
the-
there with Phoenix, I was there with Reno.
those are all the different places he jumped.
Yeah. So
But-
was Texas's hometown place?
Right, because that's where his garage was. That he
That's right.
that he has his ADT security system hooked up, but it not for an alarm. But when you push the button, it starts playing the Carpenters. Yeah, okay. Like where are you seeing her, watching her on TV at? That's not where you live. That okay. I mean, honestly, we all lie to try to like hook up with pretty women, but you have to tell a believable lie.
Yeah.
Saying I watch you on TV all the time, like really where? What affiliate do I work for? What, like, you know, like when am I on TV? It's like you can't, if you can't answer that, then you're a liar.
Yeah, you gotta tell convincing lies like, yeah, I got a 5-inch tank.
Yeah. So then Blackheart shows up at this bar. Who's Blackheart? Well, turns out he's the son of the devil. I'm sorry, before we can get to that, whenever the devil shows up, they keep doing all these random like jumps and clips and cutting back and forth and showing like these little like quick X-ray shots of like him having a like showing the skull underneath his face or him looking demonic. Like,
and it's all arbitrary. It doesn't serve any purpose. It's very poorly done. It's very poorly directed.
It's like he's being watched by somebody. So like it's almost like you're being observed by your boss. I'm like, okay, so Jack's gonna sit there with you today while you do your work and just observe. So like Jack is observing the devil. So he's like, you know, I gotta make sure I look like I'm menacing. So he's like, let me show you my demon face, you know. So you can report back and be like, yeah, so Jack, you showed the demon face a couple times. Yeah, you know, it's so bad. So
Mephistopheles is confirmed to be the devil, right? Because in Marvel, they call Mephistopheles Satan.
Well, in the Marvel, they call him Mephisto because I think at the time they couldn't call him Mephistopheles. So they just refer to him as Mephisto. But here they go by Mephistopheles.
Right.
Which is really kind of stupid because then you refer to the other one as Blackheart, which I don't think has like any kind of biblical name or anything behind it, so you might as well just go ahead and call him Mephisto and just be done with it.
Right.
I mean,
Mephistopheles isn't biblical. That was the Faust play.
I'm sorry. Occultish. How's that?
Occultish.
Okay,
Yeah.
occultish.
It definitely has an occult history, and I think that there are actual like occult texts that reference Mephistopheles. That's why the Faust play uses it.
I don't know about you, man, but I'd make a deal and get those Ghost Rider powers, and I'd drill that old devil in the ass.
I mean, hey, to each his own, but...
I'm sorry, I got to reference back to a better movie when I'm talking about this movie here. For those of you that aren't aware, that was like one of Power Bruce lines from Tombstone when they're watching the Faust play. So Blackheart shows up just randomly. Right, okay, wait a minute. Yeah, so he shows up at some bar out in the middle of the desert, and there's some biker bar, and there's a waitress there, and he shows up, and then he starts doing something to the people, which turns them into these kind of blackened sort of husk, but you don't know what he's doing to them. Like, is he taking their soul?
They're
Is
like
he
mummies.
Huh?
They're like mummies.
Right, but like, what is he doing to him, and why is he doing that? If he's just trying to kill him, like, none of that makes any sense. And he shows up there at that bar, summons some elementals, which are fallen angels that are hiding in the elements. I guess, whatever. And they're like, why did you summon us here? And he's like, well, I summoned you. And by the way, he only summons 3 elementals. I guess because Ghost Rider's fire, he would be but then the Ghost Rider's a spirit of vengeance. He's not elementals. Okay, whatever. It's like, we can't have 2 fire creatures on the screen. I got it.
I'm pretty sure there's like a deleted scene where he explains what he's doing when he turns the people into the black mummies, and he's like, I've just sucked out your life force. I just sucked out 2 years of your life. How do you feel?
Interesting. So none of that makes any sense at all. And so the elemental guys show up and they're like, and they're the worst fucking looking things.
They look really cringy.
I mean, I've seen better villains than Axe Cop.
Axe Cop's pretty good though.
But I mean, like, for the little kid that created the characters, like, you know, his dinosaur onion head or whatever his name is. I mean, I'm just saying that those would have been better and more challenging than Ghost Rider than that.
There was Evil Santa.
Well, that's real. He just happened to catch him one night.
I'm trying to remember who the vampire werewolves on the moon fought, because it was a pretty big battle.
But so these guys show up and it's like, yes, he's like, why have you summoned us here? Oh, I went the contract to San Braganza or whatever, and it's like the town was very near here. Okay, but why are we meeting here?
Yep.
Why are we meeting here? Why don't we meet there?
Yeah. I assumed that they were staying at that bar, that's where the demons were, like, hanging out.
Why there? I mean,
I don't know why there. I mean,
why not just hang out at San Braganza? I mean, it's like, okay, this is where we need to do all the work. So until we get the contract, we can't do anything. But we might as well just go ahead and set up here.
Well, maybe it was boring. Maybe like they could hang out there and like there was a glory hole or something. They could just keep themselves entertained.
Okay, that's possible. That's possible. Except for they killed the bartender chick, or the waitress.
Cute too.
Yeah, they killed her. So like, whatever. So they decide that they're gonna go do this. Mephisto shows up after, and then they encounter Mephisto in the park in Houston, like just randomly, like right? They're just chilling at the park, right? And he just shows up.
Yeah, they're just like walking along, all like droogs or whatever. Like, oh, here we go, we're bad.
And whenever they show up, everything around them gets really cold. Again, not explain why, since, hell's supposed to be really hot, like why everything starts to freeze. And then when Mephistopheles shows up, like whenever he shows up, the lights start to like blow out and everything starts getting real dark.
There are actually theories about the cold thing. Like, it happens in the Sam and Fuzzy comic. They have a demon who inhabits their fridge because, when demons get banished from hell, their makeup basically is changed to where they can't stand heat. That keeps them from returning to their home.
But he's just visiting Earth, so why is everything freezing around him?
This is a bad movie, Turk.
Okay. Well, I mean, you just tried to defend it just now. I'm like, okay.
Well, I'm just saying there's reasons for the whole cold thing. I'm not saying they handled it well, or that was even what they were thinking.
So when Mephistopheles shows up at the circus carnival thing, all the lights blow out. When he shows up at the park, they just dim. But then Blackheart makes the lights come up again, and then he's like, oh, the light. I'm like, really? Really? I mean, like, all Ghost Rider had to do was just stay in the light. Like, okay, whatever. This is just stupid.
Yeah, if you're talking about the devil himself, he's not going to be weakened by light. That's stupid.
But why would Mephistopheles be weakened by... Okay, whatever. Dude, it's just so damn dumb.
It's very stupid.
So then... Sydney's like, I'm going to call the Ghost Rider. And he's like, go ahead, call you Precious Rider. See if we care. Well, you should have cared. Because fast forwarding, whenever the elementals go up against Ghost Rider, right? Like, they never hurt him at all. Like, the very first encounter, they slam him into a truck. And then he gets out of that and he's like, okay, I'm going to hit you with my flaming chain here. And you get, like, burnt into, like, a clay pot. And, bye-bye, Adobe Boy. All right?
Now... I don't want to skip his first transformation into Ghost Rider, which was good.
No, I don't want to skip that. I just wanted just talk about this part right here, where then when he encounters the second elemental guy, which is the wind guy, and that was the white Rastafarian dude,
yep,
right?
Yep.
Oh, he's like a white Rastafarian vampire pimp.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And he's like, "Ooh, you can't catch me because I'm the wind. They call me the breeze." So what does he do? He just heats up his chain and spins it around like a cyclone, and then just like cyclones him up, and he scatters him into and then that's it. Right? He's gone.
Yeah.
Like none of them ever hurt him or even a challenge to him at all.
The air guy knocked him off of his bike. You got to give him that much.
He did knock him off his bike.
He promptly got back on and continued riding, so it didn't really affect anything, but.
And then the water guy pulls him into the water, which was really stupid. Like, why did he ride his motorcycle into the water? Not to mention the fact that he's riding into the water and it doesn't even get up to the gas tank. But then when the guy grabs him and pulls him off the bike, they're going fathoms deep. And then he turns into the Ghost Rider and goes, surprise! Like, really? We already knew you were the Ghost Rider. Right?
And then promptly destroys him.
Right. He boils him. And then, so it...
Because his fire still works underwater, people. You gotta remember that.
He even rides on water at one point.
Yeah, I mean, this fucker's running on SpongeBob logic.
Yeah.
You want to build a fire underwater? Follow your heart, Johnny. It's just what you do.
Oh, God, it's so like, he's like, I'm not afraid of them. And they're talking mad shit. Even up to the last guy who watched him just easily take care of the other two guys. He still thinks that somehow he's, whatever. It's like, they're not even mid-boss level, like, video game
No, they're
guys.
Goombas.
Yeah.
One hit and they're down.
They're not, yeah, God, they're not even a Bobos.
Yeah, no, I mean, they're literally Goombas.
Yeah, pretty much. So,
Like, not even Koopas where you can kick the shell afterwards. They literally one fucking hit and they're dead. It's like the most useless henchmen I've ever seen.
right. And you don't get hit by them as if you were a fuck up.
Yep.
Yeah. So Mephisto shows up, Mephistopheles shows up and is like, hey, I'm calling in that favor. Well, that's not really a favor. But anyway, yeah, you're going to work for me and do all this stuff. And he's like, yeah, I've been following you this whole time. And it's like, I'm the reason that you're so good. Again, if you're the reason that I'm so good, because really I'm just a big fuck up, you could have made this deal with anybody. You didn't even have to ride a motorcycle. Like anybody you could have done this with.
Yeah, the motorcycle serves no purpose.
Yeah. And so then he makes Johnny gets on the bike. He kind of somehow bonds him to the bike and he goes tear-assing through down the streets, melting a big, huge swath right down the middle of the street.
Yep.
Blowing cars up along the side, slamming into buildings, melting.
It's like the introduction to Sonic Adventure 2. Every vehicle he comes near just goes flying.
Right. He melts the parking meters, and at one point, the license plate from his bike falls off into the street, and it's all bent and charred. Now, all the cars along the streets, those went flying. They exploded. It's like I said, there's a big burn mark. I mean, like, it melted the middle of the street, down the middle of the street, and it goes on for like a mile or so.
Yep.
And then he gets to the first encounter with Blackheart and his goons, and he starts to turn into Ghost Rider. Take it away, Acomi.
So he turns into Ghost Rider. It's a good transition. It's it's showing his like skin melting off of his face, the skull coming out the flames. All that looks pretty good. And then they intersperse it with these full screen like mini explosions, like generic like stock explosion 4 dot MP4.
Yeah,
they didn't do MP4s back then. Dot wave or something. I don't know.
They were AVIs.
Dot AVI, yeah. And it's the same shitty stock explosion every time.
And the great thing about the transformation is, like, you can see the fire is actually from within. You can see, like, it, like, kind of, like, jutting out from under his skin and then burning it away.
And it looks good. If they didn't intersperse it with the stupid explosions, it'd be a really nice transformation.
Except for he makes the Nicolas Cage face during the transformation early on.
That makes it. I like the Nicolas Cage face.
He makes the manic Nicolas Cage face during the transformation. It's like, oh, wow.
It's beautiful. So he steps out of his garage, and there's the 4 bad guys. There's Blackheart and the Jets.
Blackheart and the Jets.
And so it's like, well...
Sorry.
It's like, well, where did they come from? Because it's like, I'm a big fan of show, don't tell. But you didn't show them...
No, they were there because they asked the guy... The guy that was taking care of they're at a railway, like extremely where they like unhook the cars and stuff like that. I forget what you call that. Yeah. But they're there and they asked the guy like, hey, there used to be a church here. And like, what happened to it? It's like, oh, they moved all the bodies and blah 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 blah. And then he does this like little like chalky mummy thing to the guy, and then Ghost Rider shows up, like right after that to that place.
But did he show up at the church? I thought he transformed into his garage.
No. The car took him away from his garage and took him to the railway place. Remember, they slammed the semi into.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
But so Earth Dude slams the semi truck into him, and then it doesn't even show the other 3 leaving.
No, they stand there and watch him get burned, turned to a clay pot, and then
did they?
Yeah. Because he reached out to me, he's like, help me, and then when you cut back, they're all gone.
So I must have missed them still standing there.
That's okay, because
it does to me.
Yeah, because it's it doesn't matter. And the other thing is that people like that scene in X-Men, the first X-Men, after Toad like knocks Storm down the elevator shaft, and then he does the stick spin and then poses.
Yeah.
And there's nobody around watching him pose. Like who are you doing that for? These guys do the same thing. They will like do something cool, then they'll like, yeah, I'm cool, and like, but who are you doing that for?
Yeah, because when Earth Guy's walking away, he's like, he wasn't so tough. It's like. Whatever helps you get it up, man.
Yeah, it's so bad. So...
But yeah, then he just proceeds to just fucking murder all of them in sequence. But yeah, then we go over to the next day, And even though
that's when that night he rescues Rebel Wilson.
That's right.
And he gets stabbed.
That's a huge contradiction, yeah. So he sees Rebel Wilson getting mugged. He like points to the guy and literally just does like that stupid meme like ree kind of thing. Grabs the guy. Rebel Wilson totters off down the street.
I was wondering what you were going to put to that. Like, I was like, okay, all right, what action is he going to like assign to that? And I was like, okay.
I didn't want to be too mean with it.
No, I appreciate that. Yeah.
So then this guy that he's about to use the penance stare, which Johnny Blaze shouldn't even have, he stabs him in the shoulder, and Ghost Rider's like, yeah, joke's on you, bitch, I don't feel that shit. Does the penance stare, chars the guy's eyes totally black, which was actually kind of a cool effect.
Yeah.
But
and the penance stare, for those who don't know, is like all of the like anguish and grief and pain that you've inflicted upon somebody, all of that is now taken and inflicted back upon you.
Yeah, which is a cool concept.
Yeah.
I really like I like Ghost Rider conceptually. So then, like, he blazes off into the night, and then the sun comes up right as he happens to be at his father's grave, and so he, like, falls off of his bike, and he's like, oh no! And then Sam Elliott shows up and spits on him, he's like, bonehead.
Yeah.
And then he, like, takes him into his home because he lives in the graveyard and shows him a good time.
And when Nicolas Cage when Johnny Blaze wakes up, there's all these little cups of water, and they're in those little like metallic kind of cups.
Yeah, those cowboy mugs.
Yeah,
those campfire coffee mugs.
Yeah, thank you. So, and there's about 6 of them there in various sizes. I'm like, really? You don't have anything bigger you could have given him? Like, you couldn't have gotten like a milk jug and just filled it up with water. So Johnny starts grabbing them, drinking from it, like just downing it, and then throwing the cup on the ground. I'm like, you motherfucker, right? And I'm like, I take you to my home, I give you water after you just come back from being all flamed on, and then you're just going to throw my stuff in the floor? You ass face.
So he drinks all of Sam Elliott's water, and it's the only water Sam Elliott has in the whole world.
Yeah.
And he goes outside, and Sam Elliott's like looking at the graves, and he's like, yeah, baby, I did all this. I dug these.
With this shovel right here.
With this shovel, I call her Betsy. And so Nicolas Cage is like, hey man, where's my bike? And he's like, yeah, it happened. And Nicolas Cage is like, what are you talking about? And he's like, oh, I think you know. And
he's like, no, I don't know. And it's like, I think you do. I do what? You know. I don't know. Yeah, you do.
And finally Nicolas Cage was like, yeah, dog, I'm just messing with you. I totally know what you're talking about. Such a bad movie.
Okay. So then he shows me that he's like, your bike, yeah, put your bike in the garage over here or a shed or whatever it is. And that makes Nicolas Cage want to, no, he says something else to him about something. I don't even remember what it was.
I love how we just phoned the summary.
It's something about like, yeah, you're the Ghost Rider. It's like, what? No, he's like, so like, what'd you make the deal for?
That's right.
And he's like, what? You know about the deal? Yeah, you remember how I set water out for you because I thought you were going to be really thirsty, and how I said your bike looks normal, and how when you got here I called you Bonehead? But no, I don't know anything about the Ghost Rider. Ghost what? Like, I don't know anything what you're talking about. And then possessive processorizer.
And then they create a massive contradiction because Nicolas Cage is like, my shoulder's done been stabbed, dog. And so Sam Elliott starts stitching him up, and it's like, but like, it didn't affect Ghost Rider. He just got stabbed and shrugged it right off, and he's been consistently wrecking his bike like a Phoebe for fucking 15 years and comes out of it completely unscathed. So I guess this guy just had like a Nazgul blade or some shit.
In the very first stunt, you see him like fuck up. His face slams into the wheel of the bike after he goes tumbling head over handlebars.
Yep.
And again, he's okay.
And his helmet's like totally shattered and everything. And yeah, he just bounces right over like, my bike okay? And so, yeah, so it's like, well, why did this guy's knife actually affect you then? Why did you carry the wound over from transforming from Ghost Rider back into Nicolas Cage? And none of it makes any sense.
I like he changed from Ghost Rider to Nicolas Cage, not Johnny Blaze. From now on, he's Nicolas Cage. There's no Johnny Blaze.
He'll always be Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, he's Nicolas Cage, stunt bike rider. Nicolas Cage sold his soul to Mephistopheles.
So then we create another contradiction because Sam Elliott's like, they can't come here, this is hallowed ground. It's like, well, it sure didn't stop him from the church. I guess it was just like one of those churches where they like relocated the priest or something. I mean, so there's some reason that they could just trot their asses onto there.
Right, and that's the other thing too with Blackheart, is that he is such a fucking emo, like, I want my daddy to notice me and love me, because all he ever does is just say stupid shit the whole time. They these dumbass quips and stuff. Like when what does he say? Something when the priest shows up and he's like, "Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned a lot." I'm like, first off, you're a demon. You have no soul. You can't sin. You can't. What you even say later on when you're like, "Stupid writer, I don't have a soul. Your pen and stare won't work on me."
Yeah.
Right? And so, but you're gonna make a dumbass quip like, this soul, like, whatever.
And he looks like Robert Pattinson does as Bruce Wayne. And everywhere I go online, I see people just freaking out over the trailer looking great. And I mean, the segments with Batman looks great, but then he takes the fucking cowl off and you see him as Robert Pattinson emo kid, and he's like, oh, I'm gonna write goth poetry.
And I keep seeing these like headlines articles that says Christopher Nolan said, like, Robert Pattinson didn't ask me anything or about Batman when making Tenet. And
Yeah.
what do you mean? You had a Batman series that you did, and it's over. Now we're making a movie called Tenet as Robert Pattinson. Yeah, I know there's like The Lighthouse supposed to be really good and yada yada yada. I'll watch it one day, maybe. Who gives a shit? But anyway, the thing is, like, that has nothing to do. I should be lucky I'm even in a movie that you're directing, and why would I even ask you about that? It has nothing to do with anything you've done. Like, say, so let me ask you about like Batman, and like, what do you think my take should be? I'm sorry, am I directing the movie? Did I write the screenplay? Do I know anything about it? How can I tell you what your take should be?
It's like, hey,
I mean, so why would I mention it at all? It has no bearing on anything.
yeah.
How about we focus on making Tenet, huh?
It's like, hey, Christian Slater, did you reach out to Michael Keaton? I mean, maybe you did, I don't know, but I think that's a fair question.
Christopher Nolan?
Christopher Nolan, yeah.
Yeah. I was like, Christian Slater. I was like, Christian
yeah.
Slater, Batman. I'm like,
God,
I'm starting to think now, Christian Slater as Batman.
This movie
No, that wouldn't
fucking
work.
destroyed my brain.
No, that would not work. Christian Slater is a Joker. Now that I could work. And
That
people
could
like,
be interesting.
people could be like, what? Christian Slater is a Joker. There's no way Christian Slater would be the Joker. But then for years, he was always accused of like acting like Jack Nicholson with his face, the way that he acts and like his facial mannerisms. So yeah, I could see that. But anyway,
Yeah.
back to Ghost Rider. So we get into this whole thing where later on, Ghost Rider gets attacked, or he has to get shot up by the police in a really stupid ass scene.
We've totally dropped the whole subplot with his girlfriend. He tries to go out to dinner with his girlfriend. She doesn't want to, and then she's finally like, fine,
She's not his girlfriend.
his would-be girlfriend.
She's not his would-be girlfriend.
His woman.
She's the girl that he left 15 years ago. They all of a sudden now, like 15 years later, apparently he's never fucked any other women, even though so here's the thing.
The version Johnny Blaze versus the Chad Nicolas Cage.
You made me think of Dragnet with the Virgin Connie Swale, the Virgin Johnny Blaze. So, okay, here's the thing, and I'm gonna come off as really kind of I don't know, maybe racist, maybe sexist, maybe whatever ist you want to put on there, right?
Fascist.
Yeah, I'll take that too, right? So we're talking about a guy who is a stunt bike rider.
Yep.
Lives in Texas, goes to like when you see like the first stunt that he does, you see a lot of how would you describe the crowd?
Hillbillies.
Okay, I was gonna say you see a lot of like monster truck crowd there, people there.
That's a bunch of monster truck Americans.
Right.
Sorry, redneck is racist.
I can't say that. I mean, if it was anything else now, but like, yeah, you see a lot of
you can call them ednecks, but you can't use the hard R.
No, you can't use the hard R. But so, and you've got some monster truck loving women there of various ages, which are, I'm going to call them Daisy Dukes. You got a lot of Daisy Dukes in the audience.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to say right now, not only they're sometimes pretty slutty, trashy hot, right? But they're going to throw down.
Totally.
Especially if I'm Nicolas Cage, stuntbike writer, right? You're trying to tell me I wouldn't have got into that? Oh my god, I've been so fucking deep in that. Oh my, you gotta be kidding me, dude. Oh man, like.
Well, maybe they're all fucking their cousins or something.
And you can't throw me a bone, I'll throw you a bone. I mean, I'm like, really? Really? He wouldn't have gotten into any of that.
I like to think that he would have, but we're also talking about a man who would rather spend his evenings eating jelly beans and watching monkey movies, so.
Okay, and so then we're supposed to believe that hot-ass Eva Mendes Roxanne, that she hasn't hooked up with anybody in like the 15 years from the time she went to college and then started working in TV as a reporter and all those things. She hasn't hooked up with any, like, yeah.
She probably has.
Of course she has.
Yeah, but I can't imagine that she's coming into this situation totally pure. And
so then, but as soon as they see each other again in person now, then it's like, oh, wow, all these feelings come rushing back to me, even though according to him, I've been watching you on TV, and she hasn't been watching his stunts because she doesn't like to watch him when he does his stunts. Yeah. He doesn't do interviews, so she really never doesn't see him at all.
Right, yeah.
But he does make a really good point. It's like, when they asked you to interview me, you could have said no.
Yeah, yeah.
But you didn't, so I guess you wanted to come see me, so I guess there was some interest on her end. But anyway...
Well, maybe she just wanted closure, because he didn't explain... Hey, babe, I know I promised to elope with you, but I gotta run away.
Right.
Instead, he just kind of looked at her and shot her this really dirty look.
But then she says later, she's like, I explained, you just watched your father die, and then, you ran off, so I forgave you then. Okay. But, like, it really, the whole subplot with her, it was...
There's really nothing to it.
Right. It was, I'm not going to say it was unnecessary, but technically it was unnecessary. You could have used anything to,
yeah.
Because Donald Oak's character could have taken her place as far as like, we're going to hurt your friends and family if you don't XXX.
Here's what I will put down for that is that it's a mile wide and an inch deep. Like, it's the required love story for a superhero, but like, they don't give it any depth at all.
No, it doesn't. It's just like, oh, remember the two of them were in love 15 years ago, so now they're still in love, and nothing has changed with the two of them at all.
Yeah, because that's how that works.
Right. Yeah. So she's upset that he doesn't show up for dinner because he got turned into the Ghost Rider, and all this other stupid stuff that really doesn't matter. It's ridiculously dumb. He tries to take control of the Ghost Rider power, and which he does in one day.
Yep.
He just he reads it in a book, just like, oh, I'm speaking to the spirit within me, give me the power. And the spirit's like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, okay, fam, I'll hook you up.
Yeah.
And so then he throws the Mario fireball and pluck, pluck.
Yeah. Which is a really good point because later on, yeah. So he conjures fire with his hand, throws a Mario fireball across and hits something in his house that catches on fire, but doesn't spread because we don't see him try to put it out or anything.
Yeah, nah.
She shows up to be like, oh, hey, oh no, sorry. He talks to her later on, and when he's driving through destruction and down in the street.
Yeah.
Which is, there are people all around this whole mile long or more, burnt in groove in the middle of the street with all the destruction and the storefronts that were messed up and the cars are blown up, and people are just wandering along. They've got it all cordoned off. The police are there, reporters are there, and he just comes riding in on his motorcycle like they would have let anybody just walk along in there.
I'm Johnny Blaze, motherfuckers. I go where I want.
So
yeah, I'll hit a girl. I'm a rock star.
So he encounters her there, and they have a big talk. She's like, no, you didn't show up last night. I'm done with you, and you're just a carny, and, just a bunch of mean shit. And he's just like, and he goes to, argue with, he's like, you know what? After everything that happened last night, this is a really good way of just ending it and just moving on. He's just like, yeah, you're right. You were always too good for me, and I'm sorry I wasted your time. So then she shows back up later, and...
Yeah, I didn't even learn how to read.
She shows back up later, so she's like, I'm sorry about the way things ended, and blah, blah, blah. And she's like, can you just tell me the truth? He's like, okay. So he tells her in a really stupid-ass way that no one would believe that, hey, I sold my soul to the devil for this, that, and so on. Now I'm but he does it in a very Nicolas Cage-ish way.
Now, well, hold on. She sets him up with, you can tell me anything. You know me well enough to know that whatever you tell me, I'll believe you and I'll understand. And if you have a reason for standing me up, just confide in me because I'm your confidant.
And why would I believe that when we haven't spoken in 15 years?
Right, yeah.
And she also says, in all my years as a reporter, I've seen some of everything, so I'll believe you. Which, of course, then she doesn't.
So then he's like, well, babe, I done sold my soul to the devil, and now I Hulk out and turn into a skelly man and burn people's faces off. And then she's like, I don't believe you. And then the cops show up, and they're like, oh, wait, we can't kill this one, boys, he's white. So they take him in.
Oh, well, so, okay. This part, well, I was going to say this part is really stupid. The whole damn thing is really stupid. Which is, he tells the whole thing, but what he does, he said, and then I Hulk, I kind of turn this hulking thing. Well, Ghost Rider's not a hulking thing.
Yeah, no.
And if he described what he turns into, should have been like, wait a minute, that sounds like the thing that the freaky ass chick described. Yeah. Maybe there's something to it, but he doesn't. He describes him the exact opposite of what he becomes.
Well, I guess, does he know what he becomes? Like, is he aware that he's a skeleton?
Yeah. Because remember, he goes in the mirror right before he shows up when they have his CGI body. Oh, yeah. And he starts like gnashing his teeth in the mirror. In the same way that the skeleton cartoon on TV did.
Yeah, and he is lifting up his nose and shit. Right. Okay, so he could have just said, hey, I turned into a dude with a big flaming skull for a head, and nope, didn't do that. Oh, yeah, and there's another thing, too. The cop that is dogged on him, that they find the license plate amongst all the burnt wreckage of everything that was burned in the street. God, this turned into a fucking long review. We're 51 minutes in.
Holy shit! It's almost as long as the goddamn movie.
Yeah, we're gonna have to double time here.
So he finds the license plate, and I guess it's Johnny Blaze's license plate from his motorcycle. And he's just like, "That's it. He's the one that did it." Like, what? Why would you just assume that? Look at all. How would he have done any of that at all?
This is the only license plate in the entire wreckage.
Right. Like, he's the only one that had the, oh, you're a stunt writer, right, Mr. Cage? So you have to get a license plate for your vehicle. Nobody else needs one. And plus, the cop is there. He goes to the train yard, and he looks and he sees it in, the bumper or fender or whatever it is on the train. There is a skeletal handprint burned into the metal.
Yeah.
Somehow he says, that must be Johnny Blaze's skeletal handprint. I think I remember
I'd recognize it anywhere.
Right, one time on TV I looked like, hey, his hand is all bones. There's no skin on that at all. Ain't that weird? That's just damn weird. So
they throw him in general lockup with a bunch of hoodlums, and they're all like, oh, hey, I know you. You're Johnny Blaze. I paid good money to watch you wreck. Let's beat the shit out of him, boys. Get him.
Right, and then they all start attacking him, so first off, they bring Johnny in for questioning, and they show up at his place just
armed to the teeth.
Right, guns just all over the place,
which is weird because he doesn't even own a dog.
So. Right, it's like first off, he's white. I don't understand it. Plus, he's rich. He's a rich white guy, celebrity. You wouldn't have just shown up at his place, just guns just everywhere, just pointed at him for what? Questioning because. He hasn't done anything that you know of. You suspect because his license plate was there. You have no idea why his license plate's there. You have nothing. You don't have any camera footage or anything to show that he went through the street. Nothing at all to tie him to that.
Just makes him a person of interest, if that's a stretch.
Right. They bring him downtown. We don't see them read him his rights, but okay, we don't have to see that part. He doesn't have an attorney, which of course as a rich celebrity, he would have an attorney. Mm-hmm. They don't even offer him one to your knowledge is they would have to offer him one. Then when he's talking to him, it's like, yeah, I don't know what you guys are talking about. I really, I respect the work that you guys do, blah, blah, blah. They throw him into, they throw him into, in the jail cell with a bunch of other guys, which again, a rich celebrity being tossed, that wouldn't happen at all.
Yeah, no.
And like Acomi said, then they start beating him up because they're like, yeah, you're Nicolas Cage, a stunt bike rider, right? And you didn't die that time I paid money to see you die. So now I'm going to kill you, which is just, so
and we have such brilliant dialogue as, heh, nice jacket.
Right.
So, and that's important because it comes back.
Because the dialogue is so cringy in this. They all speak in these, they all speak like first issue Image Comics.
Yes. Oh my god, yes.
That's it. And I'm not saying all later on, the very first issue of each Image comic, that's how they talk.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm going to kick your ass. go for it. It's like, ooh, the Ghost Rider, you're going to be the one ghost riding. Like, wait, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, just the nice jacket, that got me good.
Yeah,
So then he just, like, basically does the whole El Diablo thing, just whoosh, fire everywhere, they all die instantly. He's like, yeah, who else wants some? And then, like, there was one black kid who was the voice of reason, who was like, come on, guys, leave him alone, don't beat him up. And so they punch him.
Who they didn't punk out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, he was, like, the only normal one. So they punch him, and they're like, hey, leave us alone, black kid. And so then they all get incinerated, and Ghost Rider looks at him, he's like, innocent. And it's like, oh, surprise, surprise. An innocent black person in jail.
Right.
In this country?
What?
Perish the thought.
You must be fooling.
Now, I can accept a man getting devil powers, but that's just a bit too much science fiction for me.
So that's it. So the nice jacket thing. So after they're beating him up, and he turns into Ghost Rider in front of everybody, and then the sprinklers cut on. He grabs the one guy that initiated everything, and he looks over and realizes that his jacket's been ripped on the sleeve. Right. This is a leather jacket. Leather's pretty hard to rip. That's kind of why you wear leather when you ride a motorcycle, so as you fall, it's really hard to kind of like really skin out there.
Dress for the slide, don't dress for the ride.
So, and then the stitching pulls away at the shoulder, which I would like to think that Nicolas Cage wouldn't just buy just any off the rack like leather. I have a leather motorcycle jacket that I've had for like 20 plus years. The only stick that's come away from it is on the inside jacket pocket. Mm-hmm. That's it.
I got my jacket off of Wish.com.
So the fact that his got pulled away like at the shoulder stitching, okay, whatever. And so he looks at the guy and he's like, "Nice jacket," because of what the guy said to him. And he takes the guy's jacket. When he takes the guy's jacket and he puts it on, he zips it up. Then he makes the spikes on the shoulder turn to real spikes and pop out. He makes the spikes along the arm like pop out. And I'm like, wait a minute, if you could do all that shit to your jacket, why didn't you just keep the jacket you had and just use your flamey Ghost Rider powers to just like make it better?
Yep.
Whatever. in the jail cell they're in, there's other jail cells around them who all saw Nicolas Cage, like stunt bike rider, turn into the Ghost Rider. So they'd be like, hey, yeah, this guy, he like flipped out and just turned this thing. It makes no sense. He leaves, the cops go after him and all that stuff.
Big massive chase scene.
Of him riding a guy with a flaming skull riding down the street on a flaming motorcycle, and none of them think that that's weird at all.
Yeah. And so then they like chase him down a dead end. He rides his bike straight up the side of a building.
No. Before that, he rides up the bridge.
Yep.
And goes into the water.
Mario Kart style.
And then they think, oh, he must have drowned himself. Then he raises up out of the water, flips him off while going,
yeah, he flips him off, rides his bike across the water, on the water.
Right.
And so then, yeah, they chase him down a dead-end alley. He rides his bike straight up the side of the wall. And so, what's this brilliant, stalwart police officer saying? He's like, he's going up. And they're like, what? And they're like, the suspect is going up. And it's like, you can't explain that he's like literally riding his bike up the side of the building. No, you're just going to keep saying, up.
Right.
So, he gets to the roof of the building, lassos the helicopter, and says, yeehaw!
Yes.
Unironically.
Yeah, so he gets inside. The police are now surround this like, I don't know, like 50-story tall building, skyscraper. And then the helicopter comes there, shines a light on him. And I'm like, okay, what are you guys going to do? You saw him ride up the side of a building. You saw him go into the water, come up out of the water, and then ride his motorcycle, his flaming motorcycle. He's still on fire. His head is still on fire. Ride it down the river. And you guys are still chasing him like you're going to do something. With guns like pulled out, I'm like, okay, and then the helicopter pulls up there, and okay, you said he like lassos it.
So he lassos it, does a blatant Mortal Kombat reference, says he's pulling this thing in on a chain, and goes, come here! So then he pulls the helicopter in close to him and looks at the guy flying and goes, you're starting to piss me off. And the guy's like, okay. Throws the helicopter away from him, which somehow just instantly rights itself and flies away without incident.
Yeah.
Because that happens with helicopters when they're thrown off balance.
He swings it using the chain, he swings it, and it goes flying off and then it rights itself and goes, I'm like, no, that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen at all. Encounters the wind guy.
Yep.
Whips him up.
Kills him instantly.
Yeah. Then he rides off the side of the building. I thought it was kind of cool. He used the chain to like hook onto something because he rides off the side. So instead of falling straight down, he uses the chain to pull himself back to the building and then rides down it the same way he rode up it.
So that much was well done.
Lands and with a big kaboom, And again, you're talking about a guy who you just saw flaming motorcycle, flaming head, go up a building, come down the building, land with a big crash, and he's standing there, he's still on fucking fire. Roxanne, the reporter, comes walking up, gets in front of the cops. None of them say anything.
Yep,
And
nobody tries to stop her.
Right. And then the one cop's like, prepare to open fire. I'm like, okay, what part of this makes you think your bullets would hurt? And don't forget, this bitch is standing right there in front of you.
Like, you have an unarmed civilian press. You have press standing between you and the threat, and so you're going to open fire. I mean, I can't imagine that happening in real life.
And then, of course, they open fire, and they shoot him, and I'm like, what makes you think out of everything you've seen so far that that's going to hurt him? Like, why? And we're talking, what, there's about 40 or 50 police officers there, with everything from handguns to assault rifles. Do you really need all of them to open fire on this guy? Do you know, really you just need, okay, prepare to open fire, just you five. They have SWAT there too.
Yep.
Just you five need to open fire. And if none of us can hit him, we fucking need to quit because honestly, he's just standing there looking at us. Like, why did everybody need to open fire?
So he, just blows them all away, and he, looks at the girl and is like, sorry, baby, I'll hook up with you another night. And then he rides off back to Sam Elliott. And so he goes up to Sam Elliott, and he's like, bad news, Sam, they know who I am. Sam Elliott's like, yeah, no kidding. And, so then Sam Elliott's like, hey, here's the whole story behind, why they're after this contract.
Which, I gotta get to the contract here. So the whole thing of this whole contract of San Ben Garbanzo, right? the contract San Garbanzo is that the devil went into town, or Mephistopheles went into town, and there's 1,000 people in the town. It's supposed to be 1,000 souls in this contract. Offered them all, something, and they all signed. And then the Ghost Rider was supposed to go and collect all the souls from the contract. He got the contract and took it. Instead of collecting the souls, he ran away, never to be heard from again.
Right.
So
that was the opening scene.
Right. So then we find out the Blackheart wants a contract because all those souls are going to give him some kind of power that Mephistopheles doesn't have. Throughout all the years of all the souls and all the contracts that he's gathered, he doesn't have enough to get this is going to be more than enough to toss him out of power. For all the years of millennia that he's been done. Okay, whatever. Not to mention all the ones he's gathered since then, like Johnny Blaze, but okay, sure, whatever. All right. Maybe he just quit after a while. He's like, hey, this is so bullshit. Walking
this is
around.
Than it looks.
So then Blackheart kills Donald Logue's character, which was just plain suck. After, I'm not even gonna go into that whole scene because that was just garbage. He's like, I love him, really, because I haven't seen you 15 years. He and I have been friends for 10 years, right? We've been doing all shit. I've never seen you or even heard of you or anything else, but you just show back up in his life. I love him. Okay, you love him. Let's do it. So Blackheart shows up and he's like, Nicolas Cage, Stuntback Rider shows up too, and he's like, hey, I killed your friend there. And he's like, and now I got your chick here. Bring me the contract or, I'm going to do something really bad to her and don't be late. And it's like, okay, but the only two things I cared about were her and then Donald Logue. He's now dead. If you kill her, there's no incentive for me to bring you the contract at all.
Yep.
If I just destroy the contract, then you're SOL.
Yep.
I get that I really want her to live, but you need her to live more than I need her to live. And this is in so many movies like this. They do this in so many movies where they're like, okay, look, I want my family member to live, but that's your only bargaining chip.
Yeah.
And if I give you the code to the detonator, you're going to blow up everybody, including me and them. So really, yeah, I want them to live, but I have no really incentive to do this. And if you kill them, you lose anyway, because I'm not going to give you shit. So what exactly?
Yep.
I'm calling you bluff, really. I really am. And if you kill them anyway, yeah, that's gonna piss me off, but you still lose. So fuck you in the ass.
Yeah.
Totally. It makes no sense to me why that is ever an option. Why no one just stops and thinks this way. Hold on, let me just write this down on paper here and make sure I capture it all. So of course he's like, I can't let anything happen to the woman that just came back in my life the past 48 hours. And who is apparently somehow just really on board with this after seeing him turn to Ghost Rider and be like, oh. Why don't you just tell me? Really? Okay, whatever the fuck. So he goes back
Tell
to
me anything. Didn't I tell you that?
he goes back to Sam Elliott, who has the contract.
So yeah, because he's like, I'll dig up this whole grave myself, and Sam Elliott's like, hey fam, I got you. And he breaks open a shovel. He's like, I've been keeping it here for you, dog.
Oh, not to mention the fact that Blackheart was like, he's like, so go back to the caretaker. And it's like, wait, you know about the caretaker?
Yeah.
So why didn't you go get it? Oh, because the graveyard is hallowed ground, but the Catholic Church wasn't?
Yeah.
Plus, he made a whole show of, like, I guess I don't know how long he was waiting in church for the priest to show up there, but he lit all the candles there. Like, dude, really? He's like, oh, it's going to be so cool. Like, I'm going to be sitting here, all the candles are going to be lit. He probably sat there in front of those candles for who knows how long.
Yep.
How many candles he replaced because they burned out, waiting for this guy to show up there so he can be like, forgive me, Father, for I have sinned.
Yeah,
Like, isn't that really cool? You guys saw, wait, no, that's
So-
right. The only two people in here, me and the priest.
So take note, Office fans. Him saying that stupid one-liner to the priest was as important to him as Michael proposing to Holly. So, same exact setup, filling an entire room full of candles, but for him, it's not a proposal, it's just to say, forgive me, Father, for I have sinned.
Right.
Oh.
And he's like, where's the contract? Like, okay, I'm a priest here. Do you think I have any clue of whatever it is you're talking about
Right.
at all? Like, what? I mean, it's not like, it's just not like you become a priest. Okay, so let me tell you about all the stuff that's going on in this church. Woo! Are you sitting down? Do you drink coffee? Well, okay, you might want to start because, man, let me tell you. Should I start with the contract? No, I'm just going to work my way into the contract. I'll say, first of all, that first pew, right? There's some really deep stuff with that first pew. And I'm like what? Oh, it's just so damn stupid. It'd be like if you expect that when somebody becomes president, I'm like, all right, let me tell you. This is who killed Kennedy. No, that kind of stuff just doesn't happen.
Obama said that, like, they have a book or something of, like, full of secret information that he can't talk about. He did mention that in an interview once.
I know he's got to be joking. No, that has to be a joke.
I don't know. I mean, the only reason I feel like it has to be a joke is that Trump would have broadcast that shit by now.
Oh, yeah.
But maybe they just, like, didn't show Trump, and it's like, should we show Don the book? And I'm like, fuck no!
You know what? And he would believe that because all he says like, so show me the book. There's a book. I heard Obama, but Obama lies as shit. You know he lied. You know he lied about so much shit. Oh, he fucking lied about the book, didn't he? He did. He's like
crooked Barack. I knew that Barack was crooked.
or he was like, you know what? We haven't seen the book since Hillary and Bill left the White House. She might have taken it.
I know that crooked Hillary would steal the book.
So
yeah.
It's so God. So then we also find out that Sam Elliott, the caretaker, is also the last ghostwriter, the one in it.
Yeah. So he's like, I'm riding with you. I got enough in me for one more ride. And then boom, he's like, surprise, bitch, I'm a ghostwriter.
And he's a badass looking ghostwriter too.
He looks really good. Yeah.
Yeah. He rides around on a flaming skeleton like nightmare horse, which is awesome as shit. Oh shit, I just had a really, really good idea, for something. I'll tell you about it in a minute.
All right.
Anyway, so,
off
off
mic.
camera. Yeah, after clip. So, but if Blackheart knows about the caretaker, then doesn't that mean he knows that the caretaker is Ghost Rider?
I mean, yeah, you would think. Because the person they interrogated said, hey, the graves aren't here, they've been moved to this place. So it's like they have to know where the graves have been moved to, and therefore they have to know everything. I don't know.
Yeah, so, and then he goes to San Garbanzo, and then Blackheart's there, and he's got the contract, and Blackheart's like, if you change, he's like, she's dead. And he's like, okay, I'm not going to change. But then when he does change so they can fight, he like whips him all around the place, knocking him out. So what difference does it make whether they changed or not?
Yeah, it's like he still beat him in a fight.
Right. He's like, I've got the contract here. And he's like, good. So he's like, let her go. So he grabs her and throws her across across the street and slams her into a building. I'm like, okay,
Sam Elliott's not with him at this point. Sam
Right.
Elliott goes halfway, and then he's like, here, have a shotgun, I'm gone.
Right. And so I'm like, okay, remember the whole, I'm here to give you this as long as you keep her alive. Now you're going to throw her into a building. I saw the contract, by the way. Fuck you, asshole. Let me just burn the shit out of it. But no, he doesn't do it. It's all so fucking stupid.
Yep.
And then we get to, and he starts shooting him with the rifle that Sam Elliott gave him. He starts shooting with him like, why would a rifle hurt him? I mean, you just wow, okay, whatever, dude, whatever. It's just so fucking dumb. The whole thing's dumb. He pulls all the souls from San Garbanzo, and they all enter them, and then of course he becomes Legion, which is really stupid because now they start talking like I am Legion because we are. Dramatic pause, and like, come on, and they actually pause and you say many, and it's like, oh my goodness. And I skipped all the whole thing. Like whenever Nicolas Cage is Ghost Rider, he walks like John Wayne with his legs all wide and all stiff, and like these big long strides that make no sense at all.
Spooky, scary skeleton.
Yeah, so then we get into like the
and yeah, at this point we've established, your pin and stare doesn't work on me.
Right, yeah.
So then he sets the dirt on fire and starts throwing flaming dirt balls at him.
Right, because the dirt was on fire around him from like something he did that
Because he got knocked off of his bike.
Right. And he scoops up the dirt and throws the flaming dirt balls at him. But we already know that he can just conjure fire and throw like fireballs.
Yeah.
You know, he doesn't need to eat a flower or anything. He just does it. But in this case, now he's got to scoop up dirt to do it with. And somehow that kind of hurts him. Then he's like, ah. And then he's like, that didn't hurt me at all. Which he's done earlier in the thing with it like, oh, you're really hurting me. No, you're really not. I'm like, dude, we've already seen this joke and it wasn't funny the first time.
Yeah.
Honestly. So then we get to the thing and Ghost Rider grabs him and he's going to use a pin and stare on him. He's like, because he's got all these souls inside him. Is like 1,000 souls, 1,000 sinners. like okay, so let's stop here for a minute. I sold my soul to get something. That doesn't make me a sinner. Only if I've committed a sin. You sold your soul, remember, to save your dad and became the Ghost Rider. Are you a sinner now?
Mm-hmm.
And apparently there were 1,000 people in this town, and all of them decided they were going to sign a deal with the devil. But I'm sure not all of them were. I'm sure at some point there was some kind of like gift of the magi kind of soul thing. It's like, Dad, I sold my soul to get you this medicine. And it's like, oh, well, I sold my soul. This is like to like cure my illness so that you wouldn't have to stay here and take care of me anymore. Like, oh my goodness, look at us. I mean, like not all of them like sold their soul to be like, I sold my soul to be the best killer in the world, Yeah, it's like it's like, what about you, Pablo the Goat Raper? It's like, I sold my soul to never lose an erection so I can rape all the goats in the world. I mean, like, no, like that didn't make any sense. And then of course you use a pin and stare on him and
now
it
that
burns
he has
him
1,000
out.
souls, it just fucks him over. So then Satan comes back and he's like, hey, you completed your contract, you can have your soul back. And Cage is like, nah, I'm good. I mean, being free of your grasp and falling in love with my girlfriend and having lots of sex with her, that sounds pretty good, but I'd rather just keep these powers and then use them against you. At which point, Satan could just be like, hey, I'm just going to take your powers, because he's already exuded control over the Ghost Rider before. Right. He was like, you have no choice, and then forced him onto the bike and shit. So he could have just taken the powers from him. So he's like, you'll pay for this.
Yeah. Which, where something really stupid is, all right, so here I am. I'm a bad guy. And I'm going to force you to work for me. So, okay, so Acomi, I'm a bad guy. I'm going to manipulate you and force you to work for me. All right, and I'm going to give you, here's a special, I need you to kill some people because that's what you're my bounty hunter, assassin, whatever. It's like, they call him a bounty hunter, but really he doesn't hunt bounties. He just goes and kills. He's just an assassin, right? Because the bounty hunter goes in, he either kills him, brings him back alive, but then he gets a reward for that for each one he does. Yeah. All he does is kill him, and then he says, well, once you're done with your job, then I'm going to remove the curse. Well, I'm like, it sounds like a job. Once you're done with the job, I'm going to pay you, and this is your whatever. Okay, so I'm going to force you to do this thing for me. I'm going to give you a special gun to kill people with that's untraceable, so you don't have to worry about anything. All right, and then. After all that's done, you can fulfill your contract. I'm like, all right, so you can go ahead and give me the gun back now. And you're like, no, I'm going to use this gun and I'm going to use it on you. But do you really think I would have given you a gun that would allow you to hurt me?
Right.
With? I gave you something that I know that I'm prepared that you can't use that to hurt me with because I'm not stupid, Stop me, Dan, right? Do you really think what he told you my plan? Right? no, like, so, and he's like, no, why did I give him powers that could hurt me with? Like, I'm like,
Yeah, then he gives this big speech of like, anywhere innocent blood is spilled, I'll be there.
yeah. And it's like, and so the girl's like, so we're not gonna move in together, are we?
Yes, and she's like, so wait a minute, you picked this over me, gotcha, okay. Sure wish things could have been differently, and he's like, yeah, well, bye. And he hops on his motorcycle and rides off, and she's like, wait, I don't have a ride home.
And thanks for leaving me in San Bernardino. I appreciate that.
And then she like looks into the camera and shrugs, and she's like, "That's showbiz, baby."
Yeah.
And then the camera, and then the credits start rolling. It's like, so no one told you life was gonna be this way.
We're so stupid. Oh my goodness. And you know what? We've actually like. I tell you, even if you didn't like this particular podcast, it's so much better than Ghost Rider. It really is. Oh my goodness!
But now you don't have to watch it because you know the story.
It's so damn stupid. None of it makes any sense at all. And I'm like, what in the fucking this like it's so damn dumb. And I'm like, what? This doesn't make any sense. It's so stupid. Like, you've been cursed all this time, and now you're going to keep the curse. And but I don't know.
I mean, I would probably want to keep the powers. They're pretty badass powers, but
yeah, right. It's.
But I'm also not going to be some emo douche about like being tricked into the contract either.
You make bad deals. You deal things badly. It's so horrible. And I mean, going
it would
into
have been
the
better
movie,
drunk. I would have liked it if I'd been drunk.
going into the movie, I really had high expectations for it. I thought it was going to be kind of badass, but it's just it's horrible. And the thing is, it's Ghost Rider. There's no reason that a Ghost Rider movie needed to be this bad.
Yeah, no.
Not at all.
It's such a solid premise. It's a good idea. It's a great character design, like super iconic.
And his Ghost Rider motorcycle is awesome as hell.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
the transformation of him and the motorcycle is pretty badass.
Yeah, yeah.
So like that, the movie. There's no reason why the movie was this bad. It didn't have to be this bad.
Yeah,
It's like, what in the hell, man?
yeah, and I don't know. I feel like the biggest weakness is in the screenwriting. I mean, like, the directing is bad too, but I feel like if the script had been better, then I could have forgiven the bad directing.
And the thing is, like, if you watch whether you like the Daredevil movie or not, it's directed way better than this movie, and it's the same director.
Mm-hmm.
And this came after that, so it must be either the editing or I don't know what.
It's really poorly edited.
Yeah, it is. It's so choppy.
Yeah, it's like it's badly shot, badly edited. But, like, yeah, the writing just doesn't make sense. Like, I don't know if they needed to get a Marvel consultant, but, like, Nick Cage is a fan of Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
Like, he could have said, hey, this isn't how it would have gone down in the comics, or, hey, this does not make any sense at all. This, like, he's an enthusiast of the occult. I mean, he could have even said, this isn't how demonic contracts work.
Yeah.
Like, somewhere along the way, someone could have said something to have avoided that shit. I don't know.
None of it makes any sense at all. Like, why it was so bad. And the thing is, there's no challenges to it at all. There's none. Nobody really challenges them. Like, none of the elemental guys are a threat to him.
Yeah.
And Blackheart's kind of a threat. But then the whole thing about, like, the Ghost Rider only comes out at night. And then they're fighting in San Bernardino, and the sun's starting to come up, and he's like, ha ha, you lose. But at the same time, though, I've never seen Blackheart during the day either.
Mm-hmm.
And then Mephistopheles shows up at the end during the day. Like, remember that whole thing with, like, when they made the lights brighten in the park? How that was like, oh, the lights are bright.
Yep.
Right? But now is it halogens? Is that what you don't like? Okay.
These are full of mercury.
Like, it doesn't make any sense at all. And, like, and whenever innocent blood is spilled, I'll be there. Like, okay. Just. And okay, what are you gonna do? Like, a real superhero like patrols areas and stops things before innocent blood is spilled. You know, like that's what they do. Like, oh, there's a crime in progress. Let me get over there now before innocent blood is spilled and stop the bad guy. You know,
Yeah,
you
he's not
showing up
the spirit of prevention. He's the spirit of vengeance.
right.
So.
It's like, well, but I don't really need you then, honestly.
Spirit of hindsight.
Right.
Spirit of afterthoughts.
It's like Ghost Rider shows up like too early, and he's like, Ghost Rider, help me.
Wait.
Unfortunately, you have to be hurt or dead before I can do anything. I'm the spirit of vengeance. So, just like.
Well, then again, he did like prevent Rebel Wilson from dying, so.
Which then
Maybe it's the
another
vengeance of intent.
So he's the spirit of contradiction. That's what he is. Oh man, that's.
Man. But yeah, so not a good movie. We're an hour and 20 minutes into this.
Oh, so we even still saved you time from actually watching the movie.
That's true.
If you listen to this instead of watching the movie, we saved you like a lot of time from that. So you're welcome.
Yeah, you could watch like a good Nicolas Cage movie instead.
Yeah, you could.
But what was that one where you like wore all white? Bench press the hooker.
Oh yeah, Kiss of Death.
Kiss of Death. That's
Kiss
it.
of Death. Yeah.
Watch Kiss of Death.
Watch Kiss of Death.
Watch Con Air.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, you can even go back to something like watch Raising Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I do love Kiss of Death.
Trapped in Paradise.
I do like Trapped in Paradise. It's not
pretty
the
much
best comedy in the world, but
but it's a good for Nicolas Cage movie. So
yeah.
Even watch Wicker Man. Even Wicker Man would be better than Ghost Rider.
And you're a huge fan of Mandy.
I am.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's
I would elope with that woman in a heartbeat.
So I mean, there are other Nicolas Cage movies out there. Hell, watch the Death of Superman documentary about the making of the film. That's still a better Nicolas Cage superhero movie than this. And that movie was never made.
I wish that movie had been made.
I'm so glad the movie was never made. I just nothing about that would. We would be doing a Let's Watch of that if that movie had ever been made.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I guess in some ways I kind of feel like, you know what? That movie could not have been as bad as Superman Returns with Brandon Routh.
I hear that was a bad one.
Yeah, it's so god awfully stupid.
Isn't
and
that
then
the one where he like uses his X-ray vision to catch Lois smoking or something? Or am I just crazy?
No. Superman 1, he used the X-ray vision and he looks and says something about like her lungs or something like that in the first one. And then she asks him something about her panties. And he's like, and he says he can't see, like, he goes, that flower pot must be lined with lead because most flower pots are lined with lead. And he goes, I can't see because I can't see through lead. And then later on, like they're doing something, he's like, pink. And she's like, what? He goes, you're wearing pink panties. And it's like, oh, whatever.
All right.
Yeah. So
even that's, yeah, I mean,
well, it's not Nicolas Cage, but yeah, that's, I'm sure Nicolas Cage watched it. So yeah, watch something Nicolas Cage watched. It's not Ghost Rider. Yeah.
But given the choice between this and The Island of Dr. Moreau, I would take this.
Yeah, I would. This was much more entertaining than Island of Dr. Moreau. God, that movie is so bad. So bad.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, I think pretty much any of those would be better.
Yeah, yep.
And Mandy, yeah, I don't think Mandy falls into the category of like so bad it's good. Mandy is just like an actively good movie.
You can watch Face Off, man.
Face Off, shit, yeah.
Shit, yeah, you can watch Face Off, dude.
Yeah, Face Off is brilliant.
I want to take his face off. So,
if
yeah.
I let you, would you suck my tongue? I don't know what's worse, the fact that he said that or the fact that it worked.
Yeah, well, she was undercover cop, remember?
Yeah, well, I mean, if she's an undercover cop, she's obligated to suck his tongue.
Yeah. So she had to sell the bit,
Sure.
Peach. I could eat peach for hours.
Only way that line could have been better was to be like, yogurt cups. I never eat yogurt cups with spoons.
I still think one of my favorite lines from that movie is, looking at you wearing that face makes me think my tiramisu might come back up. All right. So yeah, that was what are we calling this? Don't watch.
No, you probably shouldn't watch.
You probably shouldn't watch. You probably shouldn't watch Ghost Rider with Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, I think we were gonna call it Don't Watch, but I kind of like you probably shouldn't watch.
If you were thinking of watching Nicolas Cage's Ghost Rider, don't.
I'm so glad we got the friends clap though.
We fall in sync sometimes to a point where it's kind of scary.
Watch better Nicolas Cage movies, guys, and then listen to more of us. Give us good reviews.
Yeah,
anywhere you can find podcasts.
Yeah, and I guess we should toss it out there since we're really talking about Nicolas Cage. We've mentioned it once before, and we haven't gone back to it in a while. Part of it is because we've been one con this year, and you weren't even there at that one. I was there, GalaxyCon this year.
Right. I didn't know.
So it's we have a hard time like finding people that kind of talk and do some research. We're still on the lookout for anyone that has any knowledge at all about Bottomless Mirror, the rumored Nicolas Cage movie that was supposed to be a science fiction movie that was supposed to be made in the 80s. That if you have anything about it, if you know anything about Bottomless Mirror at all, please let us know. I mean, it's almost kind of like our holy grail of sorts, like and it's more for you. I'm not as huge Nicolas Cage fan as you are, but you kind of brought this thing up, and it really got me intrigued because I'm like, really, is there such a thing? And we found just a little bit of information on it, but it's kind of sounded like was it Polybius?
Yeah.
It's kind of sounded like that, but at the same time, though, there's more solid evidence that at least that was a thing. Whether it got made or not, I don't know, but at least there was a thing. There really was a movie that he was supposed to be making. There was a script and all that, but we don't know if it's ever been made or whatever happened to it or why it wasn't made, anything. So if you know anything, let us know. We haven't heard anything else because we haven't been to any cons to talk to people and look around and ask and that kind of stuff. So, but we're trying.
Yep.
And if we ever find out anything about it, we will definitely let you know. But if you guys hear something, please let us know.
Absolutely. If anybody can find even a copy of the screenplay or something, just something to give us to go off of.
Yeah, and we went and there was a people that had those old Starlog magazines, and we went through there and I bought a couple of them, and I just couldn't buy them all because if they don't have the information, I couldn't look through it to see if they had what I was looking for and not buy it. So I just had to buy some. But then if I buy it and they don't have what I'm looking for, I don't need the magazine. I'm not gonna buy a bunch of them to read through and then throw them all away. But there should be something in something like probably not comic scene, but like an old Starlog or Omni, something that would have anything about them mentioning. Maybe an old Fangoria, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know, something that would mention that all. So you guys have anything that mentions that or references it all, let us know. I mean, you don't have to send it to us. Just let us know. Drop us a comment, send it, tweet it to us or whatever. Yeah, and we'll look it up on our own. But just something. I'm really kind of excited about this. It's almost like the. Just talking about it gets me excited because it makes me think of the old the Fantastic Four movie.
Yeah.
Where at least I knew that came out, or like the Justice League pilot.
Right.
That most people are like, what? There was a pilot, and it's like, yeah, they actually made a Justice League TV pilot and all that kind of stuff. So it's like, is it? I just want to know more about it. There's got to be something. There's got to be something about it.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, I've seen almost all the major Nicolas Cage movies. I need to be able to put this notch in my belt here.
Yeah. So. Yeah, Anyway, and I don't know why we're chasing this down, but it's something, man. It's something to chase down.
If I can find another movie that makes me feel the way Wicker Man did, I'll be happy.
I think that's probably what it is. It's the idea that there's this thing out there that, because I'm pretty sure if it ever existed at all, anything about it, that it probably wasn't good.
Probably not.
And that, I think that's really intriguing because I know the Justice League pilot isn't good. I've seen screenshots. I could watch it if I wanted to. I know it's not good.
Right.
But so I know this is probably not going to be good either. If anything about it exists at all, I know it's not good, but I still want to see it. And I think that's things like this, knowing that it's not good. I want to see how bad it is. I think that's really what it's like. It's out there. I want to see how bad it is.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So this has been a long one. I don't think we can really split this up into 2 episodes.
No, I don't think so either.
Normally I would, but nah. I mean, this Ghost Rider really brought out some talkiness in us. But,
Which is a shame that we didn't spend as much time talking about Tombstone as we did Ghost Rider.
yeah, but really, we didn't summarize Tombstone either. We're still kind of figuring out this format. We haven't done much of like full-bore movie reviews like this, so.
But we could. What we think is you can't talk bad about, like, with Tombstone, we could hit on like major parts, like this is so awesome, these characters, but we couldn't do that with this because it's bad. So the only thing we can really do is say like these things are really bad about it. We can't just jump in and be like, and this part was bad without giving any kind of context.
Yeah, you kind of had to have the context. So, but yeah, so we're still kind of figuring this out. We're just talking about like whether we think you should or shouldn't watch a movie. So, we'll probably do more of these. It's fun. It's fun. So, this is pretty much how we talk movies anyways, so, you're really just getting more of a taste of our regular conversation.
Yep.
But anyway, yeah, definitely give a listen to some of our other episodes. Check us out on social media.
You can find me, Turk182, at Turk182_KE on Twitter.
And you can find me pretty much anywhere at Acomi Draws. It's been a long ass time since I've uploaded, but Inktober's coming, so I'm probably going to start again pretty soon.
And I need to probably do some stuff with my Instagram, and then I'll start probably posting some things out there. Don't expect a lot because unlike Acomi, I don't do any drawing, but I do like to make a hella meme, which I
Are your memes dank though?
they're the dankiest.
You gotta make some dank memes, yo.
Well, yeah, I think the Jason Todd meme.
That's great.
I can't get enough of.
Can't do anything right.
Jason Todd meme. That's Jason Todd. But anyway, yeah. So you'll find me on Twitter, and you might start being able to find me on Instagram soon, regularly, or something like that. And what else we got? I think that's pretty much it, right?
I think that's it. Yeah. Like I said, listen to us on whatever platform you get your podcast from. Give us good reviews. We want nothing but positive affirmation.
Oh, and
make us famous.
Yeah. Yoo-hoo! I make it famous. Oh, and GalaxyCon Raleigh coming in December. We will be there.
Yeah.
So you can see us there. As long as it's still happening, you will see us there. We may be going to the Big Lit Con in October.
Yep, possibly.
Yeah, maybe. So, of course, we'll let you know more about that if we're actually going to be going there. But we may be there as well. But as of right now, we are all set for GalaxyCon Raleigh in December. So if they're still having it, we will be there.
Even if they aren't still having it, we'll be there.
We might just be hanging out in the street corner somewhere. Just
hang out on the street corner.
Buy my book. Buy my book. Buy my book. Yeah.
Want a nickel bag? $15, yo.
$15, little man. Put that shit in my hand. If that money doesn't show, then you owe me.
Later, everybody.
Zang, yo.
All right there, folks. That was Our Moms Think We're Funny. Let's give them a hand.